Thoughts on what you saw today?
It's good. Yeah, we had a Tuesday practice this morning, so we're going to start the week a little bit earlier this week just to get them a little bit extra day of rest on the back end. Thought it was good. Thought our guys, came out and we'd had 2 light days back to back, and I'll always worry a little bit when you have that, but they came out with a great mindset. It was good competitive practice, and felt like we got a lot done, and so I was pleased.
Does anything change, like game week versus the last couple of weeks of practice?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, there's a little bit more emphasis on scout team stuff. That's really about it. As I said, this week's a little bit different because our Tuesday will now be like a Wednesday practice, and then our Wednesday will be like a Friday, and our Thursday will be like a Thursday, and Friday like a Friday. So we'll try to lighten up a little bit toward the back end of the week, just again to make sure we get in the game fresh. But beyond that, it's really pretty similar. We're always going to do a lot of good on good just to make sure they're still getting the speed of the game. Thought it was a very, like I said, really competitive practice, and good to see.
As you go into game week, how many positions on your depth chart are still yet to be resolved?
Yeah, a bunch. I mean, we'll play a lot of guys. I think that's the one thing that we'll, as a staff kind of talk through on Wednesday is just, trying to get a plan for what we want to do when it comes to how many do we want to play and who do you think can help us win. And that's the bottom line is, if somebody can help us win, we want to try to get them on the field and let them play and see what they can do. And so that'll be the focus of really Tuesday's practice will be, seeing who we think is game ready and, which guys give us the best shot to win. And then at that point, I think we'll probably have a depth chart, even though, like I said, it'll be fluid. And I would imagine there'll be some guys are listed as starters that play less than other guys are listed as backups. And, I don't think that's going to be anything different for this opponent. I think it's always going to be the case, as the season progresses.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, kind of on that note, you guys don't have preseason like the NFL. So how much do you kind of balance? I mean, you said it's fluid. So how much are you going to kind of balance, like, hey, we need to win this game, but also I want to get some guys game.
Yeah, no, look, we always have to win. I mean, that's the, it's funny. People always talk about non-conference games and, and they're not that big of a deal. Well, they're a big deal when you lose them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so every game's a big deal. We get 12 opportunities to play. That's all it's guaranteed. And so, when these guys work, 350 days a year for those 12 weeks. So it's a big deal. Every rep's a big deal, and getting in the game is a big deal, whether it's on special teams or offensive defense. It's just, it's an opportunity to get in there and prove what you can do, but at the same time, you got to earn that right to do that. We're not giving anybody a chance we don't feel like can play at the very highest level and help us beat anybody on our schedule.
With the idea that everything you do in practice is not the same as doing it in games, will Reggie or anybody else coming off an injury be on any kind of a pitch count? Will you try to manage their minutes?
I don't think so. I think it depends on the flow of the game and how they're playing and what the performance is like and how they're feeling. And it doesn't really matter if it's a guy coming off of an injury or somebody that hasn't had an injury. It's just managing the game and seeing how they feel. And some guys really get off to a good start and perform well, and other guys it takes them a while to get going. So there's just so many intangibles and variables that kind of go into who plays and when they play and why they're playing and all that. So like anything else, we'll monitor him, see how he's feeling, and really see how he's feeling the rest of the week, and that'll determine how much he plays on Saturday.
Is QB still fluid?
Yeah. I think we're still kind of getting it all figured out, but I think we'll have our answer here pretty quick, I think.
Mm-hmm. Without asking you to open up your playbook, how do you balance using an early game like this to try some plays you might need later in the season versus being kind of vanilla so you don't show opponents too much?
Yeah, biggest deal is to play the very best we can play. And we won't hold anything back. We'll fire every bullet we got and try to play the very best we can play. And I've never been one for saving anything. I think you want to go play at the very highest. I think your first game is always important because I think it sets the bar for the year, and you want to set it very high and build off of that. And so it's going to be really important for us to play as well as we can play, and we're going to need to.
Abilene's obviously the first chance you get to obviously scout a team from last year, but obviously last year was a little weird with COVID and stuff. How much do you take from a scouting perspective from last year?
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit different last year, just because there's not as big a sample size, in a lot of cases. And the level of play last year when you go back and watch your games is probably not what you thought it was at the time, and so I think that was kind of the eye opener for me going back over the summer and re-looking at stuff last year was, the game just didn't seem as fast as it normally does, and certainly early in the year I just think there was so much feeling out that went on, but we've got a pretty good scouting report on them. I think we have a good idea of what they're going to do. I'm sure they'll have some wrinkles. Everybody does, especially week one. And they're going to make some changes and make some adjustments. But like anything else, you try to get your team ready to play and be able to adjust to what they do. And the first game always has a lot of unknowns.
So last year's film might be kind of like take a grain of salt a little bit.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah, for sure. I think as I said, you look around college football last year and you put some of the games on, you're just like, especially early, you just go, ooh, that doesn't look like it normally does. And so, we were certainly one of those teams last year that didn't look very good early. Yeah. It took us a while before we looked good. So it'll be a process trying to figure out what they're going to do, and like I said, be able to make adjustments.
Last year you were largely too deep at running back. First Bentley and McDaniel, then Levine. Now you've got Siggers, a couple of young guys. Would you like to have a deeper rotation, or would you like to still go about two and back and forth?
Yeah. I think it's like anything. Just kind of depends on who's hot and how they're going, and just the wear and tear on those guys. I mean, I think you better have at least 4 deep at running back. I mean, it's just the way it works in today's world. Guys get dinged up and banged up, and that's just the nature of that position. So, we feel pretty good about our 3 deep. We're still, working through some things with the 4 deep. Been encouraged by some of the stuff I've seen by Brandon Upton, and so I think he's, developing and starting to make a move, and so I'm encouraged by that.